Hello, everyone. I think we are live. Facebook seems to be having some issues today. Normal. How are you all doing? Let me know when you're on. I am through StreamYard, so if you haven't given StreamYard permission to view your comments and to show me your comments, please do that. I need to have permission. If not, it just comes up as Facebook user. I have no idea who you are, but I just wanted to throw that out there. So if you're just coming on and you haven't given StreamYard permission, please do that now on your Facebook page. And it's really easy to do just under your apps. But I want to welcome you all here today. Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday. It is our regular 2 o'clock time. I am just a few minutes late because I was having a hard time connecting for some reason. And I'm only connected on one of my pages, which is fine. It is what it is, but we'll just go for it. So let me know when you're on. Come and say hi because I'm excited to be here. And today's topic is all about ego. And those of you who have heard me before, I've loved talking about ego. Ego is part of our existence. Ego is part of who we are. Ego is part of all the things. And so learning to work with our ego is amazing and brilliant. And it's also a very big part of our healing process. So for those of you on a healing journey, and if you're saying, what the heck, what is an ego? We need to talk, because if you are human, you have an ego. And if you're having a human experience, which I think all of you are here in the physical, you have an ego. So good morning, Paula. Good morning, Brianna. Good to see you all here. So if you're just coming in, say hi to me. I'd love to talk to you, and let's just dive in. And I want to talk about ego today. So I can see your comments. I'm going to I will watch for them. So if you want to make comments, please do. If I don't comment on the live, I will absolutely go back and read comments afterwards. So let's just dive in. So I'm excited. I have a course that I'm going to start teaching at the end of July, and it is all about spirit communication. And the reason that I wanted to come on today and talk about ego is because it's part of my course. For those of you who have taken any courses with me, we usually touch on ego in some way or another, because ego is such an important part of everything that we do. And in my spirit communication course, we're going to be learning, it is dedicated to learning to connect with spirit, which, by the way, if you think I cannot connect with spirit, I would love to show you otherwise, because all of us have the ability in our own way to connect with spirit, with our guides, with our intuition, with all of the things. There is no special ability needed. You can learn how to be more aware and connect with spirit. And I believe that through my heart of hearts, because so many people think, oh, that person is special because they connect with spirit. No, they have learned to tap in and use their beautiful spiritual abilities in order to be able to connect with spirit. I have studied with many mediums. Those that I have studied under, we kind of all believe the same thing, that anybody can learn how to connect with spirit. And part of that process is opening up, doing some healing work, and realizing that this is part of your existence. This is part of who you are. And that we are designed to connect with our loved ones in spirit. We're designed to connect with our guides. We're designed to connect with our intuition, with our higher self. Those who say they can't do it, they just have not exercised their muscle for a while. And I believe it's like anything else. I will say this. There are some people who are just freaking brilliant at it. They are a natural. It comes very easy for them. It's no different than learning to play the piano. You've seen little kids who just sit down at the piano and they just start doing it, like a little bit of coaxing, and they're doing it. You also see people who take piano lessons for years and years and years, and they never become the concert pianist. it isn't any different to me in this experience. Like, you can learn, you can study, you can sit with your guides, you can learn to open up that part of yourself, and anybody can do that if they choose to do so. If you choose to dedicate the time and the effort, because it does take a little bit of effort and it does take time to learn how to do it, but it is completely possible. And I've seen it happen. If you have any desire, if there's any part of you that's like, wow, that sounds really cool, I would encourage you to come and join us. Now, it isn't for everyone. If you don't have any desire to do that, if you don't have a desire to connect, maybe you don't have anybody in spirit, maybe you're like, guides are full of shit, maybe this isn't for you. But if that is not you, and if you're someone who is like, you know what, I think I have an interest in this, I think I have something in me that's telling me I need to go and connect, I would encourage you to come and join us. In this course, I'm going to teach you all about how to take care of your energy, how to deal with the sensitive issues of taking care of your energy, connecting with ego, which is where I'm going to go today. Connecting with your guides is what I talked about last week, learning to hear them and see them and know that they're there and get information from them. We're also going to talk about connecting with spirit. We're going to do spirit readings. We're going to work through, because there is, and because I actually studied under some amazing mediums. I went through and got all my certification to teach mediumship, which I freaking love, because this is a part of my life that I really enjoy. And I was asked this year to teach again because I love teaching too. And this is one of my favorite courses to teach. This time I'm going to change it up though, and we're going to do healing aspects. I have never, ever put healing in with mediumship before, but this time I am going to do that because there's a lot of healing and up-leveling that needs to happen inside of when we start doing this work. So, we get a lot of beliefs about what we can and can't do and how we're going to show up and what's possible for us. And we're going to work through all of those. And so it's going to be really cool. This is going to be something that I haven't done. That part of it I have not added into the mediumship, and I'm excited to add that into learning to connect with our spirits. So that will be super cool. So let's dive in and talk about ego for a minute, because ego is lovely. And like I said, if you are here having a human experience, you have an ego. It is part of our human design. It is meant to be that way. Our ego is meant to, for one, keep us safe. Our ego is also meant to keep us small. And it's kind of that good versus evil is kind of how I see it. I don't believe really in like a Satan, or nobody call me out on that, but it's just my personal belief. I believe in you got your ego that will take care of that for you. Not that your ego is going to tell you to go do anything horrible. They just don't want you to grow. It just doesn't want you to grow and expand. When I teach ego in my courses, we actually go in and spend lots of time with ego, and we name our ego. And that's always a fun, interesting experience as you get to know her attitude. She's usually pretty sassy, and she's usually not somebody that you would be. It's kind of shocking. Ego loves to be in drama. Ego loves to have drama in our lives, and ego loves to be the show. And so usually when I do these exercises with people, I have them bring their ego out on a stage and let them get to know their ego that way, because ego usually loves the limelight. I have met one person who their ego was shy on the stage. That had never happened to me before. Usually my ego would come out with a feather boa on, and she's dressed like some Las Vegas showgirl, and she's having the time of her life. That's not who I am, but that is who I am. That's that part of me. That's that human part of me that loves that. Has anybody ever spent any time here getting to know their ego? Because I would love to hear. If you have, put a yes in the comments. I think if Paula is still on, I think Paula has spent some time with me doing that. It's very interesting to get to know our ego. I think she's actually easy to be forgotten too. Even after you get to know her, you kind of get used to her being there, and just I hear a lot of people say, well, that's just the way I am. No, that's the way your human tendencies are. And because of the way that you have grown up and your belief systems, this is the behaviors that you have learned. This is how you have learned to show up in the world. And this ego is just here to help us do our healing work. Really, like that is the gist of it. When you see adults yelling and screaming and raging downtown, that's just their 2-year-old self coming out in the ego. It's very interesting to watch. I just smile now and nod and acknowledge that it's just their 2-year-old temper tantrum, and it's okay. They just haven't got to the point where they understand that that's just part of them that needs some healing. That's just part of them that needs some work. And that ego is just screaming out for the attention that it needs and that it desires. But we can give our ego the attention and the things that it needs in different ways instead of acting like adult 2-year-olds. So has anybody witnessed that? I would love to see in the comments. You can post that down there. There have been times, I was just talking to someone yesterday who was explaining to me a situation of an adult flying off the handle, and I'm like, oh my gosh, their 2-year-old little ego needs some work. And it just needs some love usually and some understanding. So ego loves the drama. It loves everything. It loves to make everything about you. I was doing a healing session this morning, and we talked about that a lot of times. We were doing inner child healing, and we talked about the ego over and over. And once I explained how this works and what it's all about, ego is just part of our process. And it's learning to not make all these situations about us. A lot of times in healing, we want to make it, well, it's just because I'm not pretty enough, or I'm not cute enough, or I'm not skinny enough, or they want to talk about me because, and you can fill in the blanks 50 million times. People judge me because. That is our ego making all of this about us. That is just your human tendency. There's nothing wrong with it necessarily, except for if you want to grow and you want to heal, this part of you needs to learn to react in a different way. I like to say that the spiritual part of you doesn't act like that, nor does it think that way. But that ego part of you, it's kind of that, this is the shadow side. This is the side that needs a little bit of work. This is the side that needs to learn that when we were growing up and we made all the stories about us, that was fine then, but it's time to heal those stories, and it's time to heal those wounds and move forward in a different way. So I'm just looking at my notes here to make sure I'm staying on track here. So when we were small, if our parents were gone all the time, we made the story up about us that we were unlovable, or that they didn't want us, or that somehow we weren't worthy of their time. And or say they're divorced, we make that about us too. I wasn't cute enough, pretty enough, smart enough. Maybe if I would have been nicer, if I would have said all the right things, maybe they would still be here together. We like to make these stories about us. We like to make up the crazy things. My comments just came through. They're like, yeah. Oh, hold on. We need to ban somebody here if I can. I guess I'll have to do it. We have a scammer on, guys, so don't click on anything. Protect yourselves here. So anyway, Paula's saying, oh yes, the ego work we did is amazing. Yeah, Paula has been with ego work with me before. And Sandra is saying the crazy thing that it was like watching myself until a couple of years ago. Yeah, it's amazing how we just don't see it. We don't understand it. And then once we do, it's like, oh, I get it. Okay, that's what this is all about. Yeah, we just like to make things, that ego just likes to make everything all about us. If things didn't work out, we're unworthy. One of the healing sessions that I've done this week, it's like, they were fired and there were issues, and the story was, well, I'm just not worthy, or I'm not good enough to be here. That wasn't it at all. There were other things that were involved. And I don't care when I do healing what the other story is. What I care is about what you told yourself and what you need to give yourself in order to heal this situation. That is where we get our healing. That is where that inner child healing work comes in. And this literally is where changes happen by they're amazing. Like, they just explode when we do this kind of work, when we go back to those situations, when we heal that part of our ego that needs healing, when we work through those things, and then we just watch ourselves move into life. That's when the fireworks happen. That's when things change, because we went in and done that inner work. We've taken out that part, recreated those situations for ourselves so that we can step forward and not act like a 2-year-old in the adult world anymore. Let's see. So, as I talked about in this course, we're going to spend time listening and working with the ego. We're also going to do healing the parts of the ego, which includes inner child healing, which is something that I do with pretty much everybody. Sandra's on here. Pretty much everybody that I do healing with, this is something that I do with just about everybody. And we always do inner child healing. Even in the abundance course that I just talked about, we did some inner child healing, because in order to bring in more abundance, we need to go back and work on those old stories. Hi, Trish. We need to go back and work on those old stories and talk about why we're here to begin with. And this is all included in that. So a healed ego, and it was this morning, Spirit gave me this, and I thought it was freaking brilliant. I can't even take responsibility for it. But a healed ego no longer craves the drama, the attention, the recognition, and steps into this place of, you know what, whatever, it is what it is. In one of my sessions this week, we talked a lot about judgment and how worrying about what other people think comes from that ego. That's where this ego work comes in. So when we sit and worry about what other people think and what other people might be saying about us, and oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. They might think blank. You can fill in the blank. You know, they might think I'm an idiot, or they might think I'm crazy, or they might think all these things. This is ego at play. This is ego at play, because your higher self will never talk to you that way. Your higher self will never beat you up, and your higher self doesn't give a shit about what other people think, because that healed ego no longer craves that drama, and it doesn't crave that attention that it gets from wallowing in the drama. So when you have people in your life who are really hard to be around, it's all about them. It's just this ego at play. And it's funny, when you learn these things, I feel like it becomes easier to deal with people around you, because you can take yourself out of the picture and go, okay, you know what? I don't need to feel guilty or shameful or saddened by that, because here's what the deal is. I can see it. Did I maybe say some things or do some things? Yes, but it doesn't matter, because their reaction is up to them. What they do with it is up to them. Sometimes we need to have difficult conversations, and people get angry and they get pissed off and they get all wound up in it, and they're, you know, whatever. We've all been in that. What they say or what they do, as long as you do what you're doing in love and light, you need to let other people be. Let them think, do, feel, perceive it any way they want, because that is no longer about you. The other thing that we seem to talk about a lot this week is, not worrying about what other people think of you, because it doesn't matter. You know, this kind of ties into all of that, and not worrying about the judgment that you might receive from them. Because when we stay in that place of judgment, this is just what we think of ourselves too, because people are a mirror for us. So if you're sitting in this, in this loop of, oh my gosh, I'm being judged by them, because you don't usually even know. Nobody even freaking knows. Most of the time, people haven't had these conversations to know if someone even is judging you, but your ego's out there going, yes, she is. I'm sure she is. Who cares? People are going to be people. I can tell you, I have people who either love me or hate me, and it's okay. You either come in my group when you love my energy and you love being here, or you're like, nope, not having it, and that's okay. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Sandra's saying you quit reacting to things in a negative way and don't add to the drama. Yes, your life is so much calmer. This is the beautiful part about learning to work with this ego, is your life settles way down, and you can have difficult conversations and not get all caught up in them. The other part of this is learning to tame the asshole in your head, because your guides will never talk to you the way that your ego will talk to you, ever, 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 ever. Your higher self will never talk to you the way that your ego would talk to you, ever, in a million years. It won't happen. And so if you're hearing this bashing of your failure, you're not good enough, and you can tell by the way that you feel what's going on in your head. This is your first indication of what's going on. Absolutely, Sandra saying it is okay not to want to be around these negative people. Yep, absolutely. And you're just okay with it because you don't want the drama anymore. None of us want the drama. But learning to tame that asshole in your head and know, and I talk to mine a lot. Nope. You know what? We all go through times. Just this last week, I was sharing in my membership group. Just this last week, I had some feelings and some things going on. I've had some tough things going on in my life. And I was like, you know what? I'm just done. I just don't want to do it anymore. I'm just out of here. And I realized it had nothing to do with what I thought it was. It was because I was telling myself that I wasn't good enough. I was a failure. I wasn't showing up enough. I wasn't being enough. I wasn't doing enough for my kids. I wasn't in all the places. And those are not true stories. Now it still happens to me. It still sneaks up on me. And it sneaks up on when we're learning and when we're growing. When you're growing is when your ego comes out of the closet. If you're comfortable, I guarantee you are not growing. If you're just hanging out in life, you are not growing. Because the ego comes out when we start doing scary things. And ego comes out when we start stepping up to the plate and maybe signing up for classes that we never thought we would, or we sign up for healing, or our ego comes out of the woodwork, and she comes out in full force, ready to kick some ass because you are stepping out of your comfort zone. She wants you to stay comfortable. That's where she belongs. That's where she feels her best. But I guarantee if you are comfortable, you're not pushing yourself. And if you want any type of healing in this life, if you want to do any of it, you have to push yourself. You have to step into the uncomfortable and know that you're going to be okay, that you've got your back, the spirit has your back, your guides have your back. And if you are being pushed to do something, you should do it. Absolutely, hands down, 100%. It doesn't matter the outcome. It doesn't matter how it works for you. It doesn't matter what it does. You should do it just for the experience. And I know even in my own life, I've talked a lot about one of my most uncomfortable places to be was when I was being urged to come out of what I call my spiritual closet. And it scared the holy living shit out of me. And my ego was working full force to keep me in the closet. And my guys were working on the other side going, no, you don't want to stay there because you will never be where you want to be. And you will never have the fulfillment that you want if you don't take a chance on yourself. So as I talk about ego, this is what you need to be uncomfortable in your life. Absolutely, hands down, be uncomfortable. Because when you're uncomfortable, that is when you are growing leaps and bounds. And when it feels not very good and it feels sticky sometimes because healing isn't pretty and ego work isn't pretty and the shadow side of ourselves isn't always pretty. But when we're doing that, we are growing. And when we're pushing ourselves, we're growing. And when we're mucking through it, we're growing. It's when we stop and we're uncomfortable that you need to ask yourself why. What are you afraid of? Because at that point, you're allowing your fear to lead your life. And that is what you don't want to do. We've been fed a lot of fear stories in the last year and a half. And people right now, I know it, I can feel it, I see it. People are living in this fear of what life is going to be like or what life isn't going to be like anymore and what we're going to have the opportunity to do. But you don't want to stay there. You can live in fear or you can live in love. Living in fear is living with your ego. Living in fear is choosing to stay small. Living in fear is just choosing not to deal with it. And I have made a pact to myself, I won't live in fear. I just don't care. My life will go on. My life will move on. I will just do things because I choose not to stay in that fear. It's not to say that I won't get scared because I just did last week. So you just saw it, like it happens. But it's how we react to it and how quickly we come out of it and what we do with it. Because anytime you are pushing, you are going to have that fear come in again. Anytime you're doing things, you're going to think, oh my gosh, it'd just be easier not to, because it would. It'd be easier just to hang out. It'd be easier just to set back. But is that where you want to be? Is that truly where you want to be? So I encourage you to learn to tame the asshole in your head. She doesn't get to run the show anymore. It takes time to do this. This doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't take time. You have allowed that record to run in your head for however many years you've been alive. And now it's time to learn a new way of doing things. And the first way is to tapping in and understanding that this is your ego. That is the very beginning step. I have talked about it many times before. I give my ego a ladder a lot. And I know it sounds crazy, but when I'm growing and when I'm changing, I invite her to come and go with me. And I've been working with my ego for a lot of years now. And for me, this is one of the things that works the best. And I just encourage her to come and join me, because most of the time when she starts freaking out, she thinks that she's being left behind. And if I will encourage her and tell her, I'm doing this for us, I'm doing this with us, and I want you to come with me, things seem to calm down a whole bunch. But you have to understand who's talking to you first before you can throw anybody a ladder. Because if you throw your higher self a ladder down there, she's not going to get it. She doesn't understand what that means. She's not down there. She's up there. You throw your ego, and I look at my ego as that energetic lower self of myself. So that's why I throw that ladder down there. And so when I do that for her, it seems to calm her way down, and we can work through whatever it is we're working through. So think about that as you're working with her, and learning to talk with her and shut the record up, because that record can no longer just run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, telling you that you're an idiot, that you're stupid, that you're dumb, that you're ugly, that you're fat, whatever it is that is telling you. That ego cannot do that anymore. That record cannot be allowed to do that anymore. And part of that healing process is learning to listen to that, learning to tap into that. And I've said it before, go by your mood. If you get up and you feel depressed and you're not having a very good day, there's something going on up here. That is your first clue. If you get up and you're a little sluggish, there's something going on up there. You need to take a really good look at it and see what's up. And I just go talk to myself. Hey, Gina, what's up? What's going on today? And sometimes I don't always get it. Sometimes it takes me a day or two, but most of the time I can get it and okay, I see. It's because I've become more self-aware, and you can do the same thing. If you want to learn how to do this, come and join me in my course, because we're going to learn how to be more self-aware, more understanding of our energy, more understanding of all of the different aspects of you. So I would encourage you, on a scale from 1 to 10, how's everybody's ego feeling today? I would love to hear. 1 being she's quiet and she's lovely and she's happy. A 10 being, oh my God, she's out of control today. I would love to hear in the comments. Post it down there. I want to see how you're doing today. There's nothing wrong with anywhere. I know I posted last week, just like I said, you are welcome, Sandra. Trish is a 3. Yay, Trish. That's a good lower number. I was posting in one of my other groups, and somebody's like, oh my gosh, it sounds like you're having a hard time. I have had a hard time lately, but you know what? It is okay. And I want to normalize this whole part of healing, because there's nothing wrong with any of it. There's nothing wrong with any of the emotions. There's nothing wrong with not being okay. As society, we have been told that we need to just be okay. Yay! Sandra says it was a 5, but now a 2. Awesome. Good deal. Just talking about it today. Message has been heard. I got it loud and clear. So, there's nothing wrong with any of this. There's nothing wrong with me coming on and saying, you know what? I'm having a really hard time. I'm having a hard time moving through these things. And I share with you my experiences because I want you to see that. I want you to understand that it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to not feel okay, and it's okay to be fighting with your ego for weeks on the end, and it's okay to be in a place of being comfortable for a while because you're tired. There's nothing wrong with any of it. It's not allowing yourself to beat yourself up anymore, and that is the point of all of this. Allowing your head to be, okay, you know what, here's where we are. But all of us do it every day. We do it about what we eat, what time we got up, how well we slept. We do it over everything, and it's not okay. That part of it is not okay anymore. But it's learning and understanding and growing through all of this. It's time to stop beating ourselves up and to step into this place of embracing ourselves, You're here for a reason. You're here to have an experience. And yes, ego is part of that. But if I can tell you anything, I'm like, slow the record down. That's a better way to say it. Slow the record down and not allow it to run you into the ground every day. One of the girls I worked with this week in healing, I'm like, you're tired and you're exhausted because this never shuts up. And if we're telling ourselves these horrible things every day, why the hell would you want to get out of bed and do life? You know, if you did that to your kids every day, if you did that to your animals, if you did that, they wouldn't want to be around you either. They wouldn't want to get up and do life. But we allow ourselves to do it to ourselves. And that part is not okay. That is why I teach about ego, because it is time to realize that there's a different way of being. And the old ways don't work anymore for us, or you wouldn't be here in this group. And I can tell you that right off the bat, because your old ways are not working, which is why you're here. So I would encourage you, if any part of you says, oh my gosh, this sounds cool, come and join us in our Spirit Communication course. I would love to have you. I thank you for all being on today. And we'll post the link down below. You can find it on my website as well at ginastroll.com/spirit communication. If you want to go check out our sales page, you can learn more about it there and what we're going to talk about. But I enjoyed having you here today. Thank you for coming and talking about ego with me today. And I hope you all have a fabulous Tuesday. And we will talk to you soon.